Hello, ladies and gentlemen,
Done.
and welcome back to the JP Football Podcast. I'm your host, of course, Josh, and Mr. Luke Cooper is back on the show. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the international break. I asked you guys if there was any specific country you wanted me to talk about, and Luke actually reached out to me on my social media, and we're going to be mainly talking about England, which I am very excited to talk about. Loads of talent on the England squad. But before that, there is very little Everton news. I'm going to speak about first. The first main thing is that apparently James Rodriguez has rejected a move to Istanbul Başakşehir and will remain at Everton. This is according to Colombian journalist Pipe Sierra. I mentioned this a video or two ago, how I didn't think there was any way in hell he was going to go to Turkey to play for a side, and it looks like I'm right. So I'm really not going to speak any more of it because the saga just needs to end. And one more Everton thing, Demarai Gray has got the Toffee Blues Player of the Month award for August this season. Instant impact there. Again, not going to say too much of it. All Evertonians know how important he's been so far. And like the last biggest thing I can think of is apparently Cenk Tosun is now linked with the move to Turkey, which makes a lot more sense. And I would love to see him go to Turkey because he hasn't really done anything for the club the past, 1 to 2 seasons. So it'd be nice to get, a player off our wage bill. But anyway, moving on, the international break is finally over, ladies and gentlemen. The next one doesn't start till, what is it, Luke? October?
October.
Right.
The next.
So the next one doesn't start till October, which means, we got some Premier League football matches up and running. I'm excited to see everything get back into the action. But before we talk about England, I'm going to talk about America a bit. So in CONCACAF, that's where we play. We have about like 8 teams in our group, and we played El Salvador away. We got a 0-0 draw. I think the fan base for us was split on that decision. Some were like, oh, it's a good away point for World Cup qualifiers. Others said, no, we should have beaten El Salvador anyway. Then we went into our next game, a 1-1 draw against Canada, which, again, Canada for me is one of those up and coming football teams. Good talent on that squad. And then last night, I just want to say how proud I am of the national team last night. We started a squad, I believe, which is the youngest squad ever in the World Cup qualifiers for America and potentially all nations. Our average starting age, by the way, Luke, 23 years, 85 days.
That's young.
Yeah.
That's really young.
And it's the youngest. And we started off horribly. We're down 1-0 in the first half against Honduras. And then we came roaring back the second half, making it 4-1. And 18-year-old Pepe, I forget his first name, but Pepe, that's his name, right? 18-year-old Pepe got his first start, I believe, got a goal and 2 assists in the second half. And, we made 3 subs at halftime who all made an instant impact. It was a tale of 2 halves, and I'm just really proud of the boys, especially how young they are. It's a testament to our squad depth. I realize they're definitely a bit better than I thought because, we're missing Gio Reyna, Weston McKennie, Serginho Dest, Pulisic had to get subbed. We're missing some of our European stars. So
you've got a lot of good players in the American. I heard a lot about the American team, even Dyke.
DK. Yeah, we don't have him either. We don't have him either at the moment. So.
He was good in Barnsley last season, but I hear quite a lot about him and how highly rated he is. And obviously, Pulisic at Chelsea, he's probably your main guy, isn't he?
He's our captain. Yeah.
I heard Weston McKennie's quite a good midfielder as well. So
yeah.
There's a few good players that are in European teams. So I hear quite a lot about the American setup there, and it's sort of similar to England, how many young players are coming through and stuff like that. A lot of young players that are coming through at England is really good. I'll talk about it later, but and the American teams as well.
Yeah.
So I think the American team is going in the right direction. So
yeah, I hope we are too. Again, we won the inaugural Nations League against Mexico, which was a classic matchup. And then we won the Gold Cup against Mexico again. And then now this comeback against Honduras again with young squad depth players. It it makes me feel reassured about our World Cup chances, because again, after the first half, I was really worried, but then we completely flipped the switch. We turned it around the second half. We won, 4-1. Again, Pepe got his goal. Who else? Anthony Robinson, former Everton player, he scored as well. Brendan
Fulham,
Eric.
isn't it?
Huh? Yeah, I think he plays for
Anthony.
Fulham now. Yeah, Anthony Robinson,
Yeah.
Fulham now. So he scored. Brendan Aronson got on the score sheet, and then Sebastian Lletget, he scored in like the 93rd minute to cap it off. So very proud of the boys, very proud of the Americans. And I think this is going to be a continuous trend. I do believe we're making the World Cup. I'm not worried about not making the World Cup this time around, even though, some fans should be, but our fan base is a bit still split about Greg Berhalter, our manager. After the game, if you looked at social media, we were saying good win, but a lot of people are saying good win, but Berhalter out, still get him out. Don't want anything to do with him. So again, we'll see what happens. I don't think we're going to get rid of him. I'm fine with him at the moment, although he has made some very questionable decisions, especially that first half. He played a couple players out of position, but when he finally got them in, we're good to go. But last thing about the American national team before we move on, like you said, Luke, you did mention a couple of our European starlets out there. Do you believe that we will make the World Cup this time around? And if you do believe we make the World Cup, how do you see us doing from an England perspective, an English point of view?
You got the talent, but as I keep saying about England, like we got to the final in the Euros, but it depends if the talent is there still, and it also depends on the manager, as people are very split on the manager. But I see you doing well, and I see you qualifying 100%. Depends what Canada does as well. They're quite a strong team, but I see you making it. I think if you keep that core of the team, like McKennie, Dyke, Pulisic, keep that core, I think you qualify. And how you do in the World Cup? Probably the round of 16. I think if you don't get a tough group, I see you getting out the group, probably the round of 16.
Yeah, that pretty much sounds about right. I would love to see us go to the round of 16. I'm trying to think if we've ever even made it to a quarterfinals of a World Cup. I don't know if we have. So, it would be really big for the States if we could, do that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be enough talk on the States for me. Maybe we'll talk a bit, in relation to England. But now we're going to talk about the England national team, which again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited to talk to Luke about because he actually lives in England, so he's a legitimate English fan. And, it's just, Luke, by God, what a team. Honest to God, what a team England has. The amount of young talent, they're a top 5 FIFA ranked team in the world. And I really do. The Euros final, I think, against Italy, who's another top side, it is what it is. But I do believe you guys could actually go all the way. You're top of your group World Cup qualifying. You guys are going to stay there for sure. And, I do think you can go all the way to the World Cup final. I really, truly believe that. But, maybe you have a different point of view on it.
Well, we've had a reasonable qualifying campaign. We won against Hungary. Then we won our second. I can't remember our second game. Who is it? We won against Hungary. Then I can't remember. Who did we won the second game?
I don't know why I'm thinking Albania. That could be completely wrong. I don't think it was Albania. It was because I know you played Poland the other day, and then
Hungary. Hungary was the first game.
Hungary was I know it can't be Albania. That's a different group. It's Andorra, yes. Right? Andorra, yeah, not Albania. Yeah, one of the A countries. Yeah, Andorra. Sorry, yeah.
We played 3. We won 2, and we drew 1. First game against Hungary was overshadowed by the amount of racist abuse towards Sterling. Racism needs to stop, full stop. Absolutely. I'm going to put it out there. but the performance was brilliant. Not so in the first half we were a bit slow, and then second half we sort of clicked into gear. But the most important people in the England team, there's not Harry Kane, it's not the attacking players, it's actually the midfield pivot of Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. They are the two important players in the English team.
Interesting.
If we lose one of them, I think we're weak in midfield still. Obviously, Mount can probably do a job from deep, but the two holding midfielders of Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips are the two most important people. That they pull the strings together. And then I'm a bit mixed on. Everyone has a split on Sterling.
Really? I'm actually shocked by this. Really?
I see a lot of things going on social media that Sterling is not good at his finishing, or he doesn't pass, or some people they would prefer to see Mason Greenwood start, because I think Greenwood's probably, out of every single English player in the country, Greenwood's the best at the moment.
Yeah.
He's performing well at Man United at the moment, and I think Greenwood should start over Sterling. I'm not a big fan of Sterling. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan. He's proved me wrong in the Euros. He did pretty well in the Euros, not going to lie. Jack Grealish, he's probably a fan favourite.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a fan favourite. Everyone likes him. And probably all the girls like him because of his hair.
That's interesting, because your Jack Grealish's hair, it kind of I mean, I'm not all that too impressed by it, if I'm being honest. I'm just like, it's Jack Grealish. I mean, that's his style. I don't know why.
But every single, I know one of my friends. He's trying to copy the Jack Grealish hairstyle, but apart from that, his footballing ability is fantastic. There, he can play centrally, he can play on the left. Yeah. Maybe I probably would prefer Jack Grealish to Sterling on the left-hand side. That's where Sterling probably normally plays. We've got Mason Mount, who's Chelsea's best player, and he's England's best player, actually.
Wow.
I would say he's probably the most creative player that we've got.
Okay.
And then on the right, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Rashford, when he plays for England, he's hot and cold. He blows hot and cold sometimes. But I personally think he's better down the middle for England. Or because Gareth Southgate normally plays one up top, where I think he should be playing two up top with Rashford and Kane, because I think Rashford's better down the middle, because he can use his pace. But also that's where Greenwood comes involved, because Greenwood is probably better down the middle, but normally he's been played on the left or the right. That's the attacking. Defensively, I think a bit weak.
Really a bit weak.
It's either Maguire and Mings, or it's Maguire and Stones.
Right.
I don't think we have another centre back apart from Maguire at the back. I mean,
like that can do a job. Like that can do a job, or.
Yeah, but I don't think we have another proper English centre back. Like Maguire's good, but he's not top class yet. John Stones is probably our best defender. And John Stones is probably our best centre back. And then, but you also got someone like Ben Godfrey, who can probably. He's young. I would like to see. I've seen a few. I think he has played once or twice for England. I would like to see Godfrey come back in, maybe.
I would love to see that too. I would love to see Ben Godfrey there too. I think Ben Godfrey also might be one of the quicker center backs that England would have if he were inserted into that. I do, because he's very fast, Ben Godfrey.
Yeah, but Gareth Southgate also plays three at the back, so maybe it could be an option. But the centre backs we are a bit light. Luke Shaw, fantastic left back. He was really good in Euros, probably one of the best players in the Euros.
Yeah.
Right back is a bit of an issue. I mean, Kyle Walker's okay, but you also got Trippier there as well. But there's a bit of competition, but I think they're both the same. They do both the same job, Kyle Walker and Trippier.
I mean, they're also around the same age, right? They're also around the same age. Yeah. I was actually thinking for England's right back position. I'm glad you brought this up because, and I like Kyle Walker. I like a ton of players on that England team, but and I know this is going to be very against my Everton roots to say this, but again, it's only national football, not Premier League. But what about you scrap those two, put them on the bench, put Walker and Trippier on the bench, and give Alexander-Arnold a chance at right back? He's younger. I'm sure he's faster.
Okay, thinking about Arnold.
Okay.
He did for the Andorra game. Southgate just switched it up for what
completely. Yeah, completely.
He put Arnold into midfield, but Arnold, I've forgotten about Arnold. Thank you, but Arnold is not a central midfielder. He's not. He's a right back. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, getting Arnold, is he better than Walker?
Well, not experience wise. No, like experience, like you're probably going to take Kyle Walker and Trippier over Arnold any day. But what I'm saying is, I think that Alexander-Arnold wouldn't be, that bad of a replace. I think he can do a really good job. I just think that you play him over your more experienced players. I just think that'll make fans a little more uncomfortable. But look, again, Alexander-Arnold's a really good player. Everton fans are going to be like, what do you say? Look, I know, I get it. But look, you have to give credit where credit is due. And he's a fantastic right back. He's good for his club and he's good for his country as well, I think. So, but again, I don't know how comfortable Southgate is with them, right? Because again, you have Walker and Trippier. So, and they're the safer options, right?
Got one more, Reece James.
I think Reece James. There you go.
We got a lot of.
You got right backs. You have 4 right backs.
But that's the only. That's a good problem, but also a bad problem. Who do you play? Personal opinion, I prefer Reece James
over all 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he offers you something defensively, but he also offers you something attacking. So that's my opinion. And we also forgotten 2 other guys. Lingard, who scored against Andorra.
Yes, love Lingard.
Took his goal really well. I think he is a good player, but he's another player that blows hot and cold. There's a few England players that blow hot and cold sometimes. And so yeah, and then you got Harry Kane, probably
irreplaceable, right? Yeah, irreplaceable.
Yeah, but I would like to see Greenwood start down the middle, but I don't think Greenwood hasn't been called up from Southgate yet.
No, don't believe so.
No, so maybe next World Cup, I think Greenwood could be possibly our number 2 striker to Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And then Foden, he's out. I think he was out with an injury.
Yeah.
Fantastic player. So let's just say England have got a lot of talented players, but it's whether they use it correctly.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And actually, speaking of the games we have been talking about, let's go back to the Hungary game for just a moment, because you did mention, Raheem Sterling was on the end of like pretty racist abuse, like you said, in football in front of the Hungary fans. Now, I'm glad they smashed them. 4-0. But again, I don't think that's more of like a frustration at the Hungarian players. To me, it's totally the fans. I think it is totally the fans are taking the frustration out on. But you're right. Racism in football has continued, and in my opinion, it actually somehow has gotten worse. Even though we've been saying for years at this point, this kind of stuff needs to stop. Now, I do want to say, I thought Declan Rice was an absolute savage. Did you see what Declan Rice did? Like after this goal, he drank the beer at the coast, like that. What a way by Declan Rice. I loved seeing that, But and speaking of like racism and whatnot in football, and I'm actually going to say this because you as like an English fan, especially after the Euros and the racist abuse that Rashford, Saka, and who is the other one? Rashford, Saka. Well, the 3 England players that took the pen.
Sancho.
Sancho, yeah, Rashford got.
Thinking about I've forgotten about Sancho.
Sancho, there you go. Sancho's another one. Yeah, but before we go into they got hurled a lot, and it was all over social media. I couldn't believe it after the Euros happened. But you as an England, like, you've got to be ashamed, right, of your compatriots, of those other England fans, right? Because that's. But has that always been like a big problem, like when it comes to the English team? Because I remember before the Euro started, I was very excited. I didn't care who won because I have family from Italian roots. So if Italy won, okay, cool. But I also, again, I love the England squad. I love the English players. So I was, Pickford's in goal. I have to root for them as well. But I was talking to a lot of my American fans, and I said, hey, who are you guys rooting for? And 99% of them said Italy. And I was like, oh, why? And they literally just said, I just don't want England to win. I don't like England. And I was kind of, why? But then after the game, they pointed to all the racism stuff and they said, that's why I don't. So it gives English fans a bad look and a bad name, but not, again, it's like everything. Not everyone is bad. And I believe there are a majority more good English fans out there than bad ones. But Luke, how do you guys deal with the bad ones that like give you guys like a bad rep? I just
got to ignore it. I mean, that's what I do. I just, whatever. There's bad people out there in life. I've got to ignore the haters, right? Haters can hate.
Hold on. We're having a bit of technical difficulties at the moment. Hold on.